Hello, I'm Oral Gibbs, and welcome to Oral Gibbs Live. When I come back, you will meet my guest. He's a regular right here on Oral Gibbs Live. Let me tell you about the sponsors. The Windward Islands Bank. Windward Islands Bank in Phillipsburg, also in Cul-de-sac, and in Simpson Bay. The Windward Islands Bank for all your banking needs. And GEBE, local water and electricity company. GBE, service and running for over 6 decades, is GEBE. And with me here on Oral Gibbs Live, I'll tell you about that in a while. You should subscribe to Oral Gibbs on YouTube. Reason why, if you subscribe, you'll know when we have a live show, when we upload a show, and you'll be the first to know. So you can go to YouTube/@OralGibbs and subscribe, and it's free. And you have all the shows right there. Right now we have over 500 shows already uploaded to YouTube. My guest on the program is Mr. Raymond Jesseroen. Mr. Jesseroen is the Vice President of St. Martin Seniors Association, and he's also with the Anti-Poverty Platform. You are the co-coordinator. Welcome to the program again. How are things going?
So far, so good. One day at a time.
You've been traveling the world, man.
Sometimes, yeah. It's necessary.
Yeah. So you're having a good time?
Well, I have, from the one hand, I have life. Mm-hmm. I have the blessings from the Lord, and for the rest, I'm still going strong.
Yeah, that's an unusual question. You come on the show and say you're having a good time. You should have a good time. Well, I think you enjoy what you're doing. I get that impression.
What is good? If you, as a senior citizen, would like to be good, then you must have much more income, disposable income, much more opportunities for you to do what you want to do, and not to be bothered continuously with the needs of all your peers around you.
I agree with you 100%.
So if you want to make it good for me, with your program, maybe we can reach those that are in charge, right, that have to provide us with the solutions.
Well, you've been that very consistent voice for the seniors on this island. You've done a lot. You had all this program with bringing in food from the Dominican Republic. And the last time you was on the program, you told us you had some issues with that. Have you been able to resolve that?
Well, if I tell you what were the issues, we talk about structural issues. Mm. We talk about the way that business is being done in St. Martin. We say that the consumer is the king. But here, it's the owners of the large supermarket chains, they are the king, because they determine what is the quality that we get, and they determine what is the price that we have to pay for that. And they always have an argument of the import, the freight. Now they have the Ukraine war as an argument. But the bottom line is still, Mr. Gibbs, that in Curacao, the prices are still half of here. Even though they also have the war. And they also have to import, and they also have the dependency on importing goods from, for instance, Miami. Mm-hmm. So in a way, it is not only that. The Ministry of Economic Affairs in the Netherlands did research here in the St. Martin and also in the other islands. And they discovered that the cost of living in St. Martin, and especially the price of food and nutrition here in the island, is the highest in the kingdom, which has also repercussions for them that are now in control of Sebastacia and Bonaire. And when they analyze it, they come to the conclusion that it is not the freight, it is not transportation, it is the way of doing business here in St. Martin. So with our program, we have illustrated that it is the way of doing business. Because when we organize ourselves as consumers, we provided to each and every one, based on the principle of love your neighbor as yourself, with the same price that we could get the stuff. We imported it, we brought it here, and what was the difference? Durable quality. It was much better for the people. It was much longer that they could have it in the fridge, and it was also much cheaper than in the supermarket. What was being done in St. Martin is that stuff imported from Miami was bought in most probably for dump prices. They're almost expired, so then you get it cheaper. And that's the way of doing business in St. Martin. I bring that stuff, and I don't care how long you will have to bear with it. If after 2 days it is spoiled, you bought it. And this is where we were in St. Martin. And until the day of today, we haven't seen any difference. Now, there was recently a press release from the Minister of TIAT. He went to the Dominican Republic, and he had conversations to see if the supermarket chains here could import stuff from the Dominican Republic. Of course, everybody is in agreement because of the quality that we also could bring. But the thing is the same people that are actually having the high cost of living here up to this level that you want to provide now with cheaper stuff than in Miami, and for us to pay the same prices that they are paying more because the quality is now better than before. So we are a bit reluctant. We still want to see what is really going to happen and what really this initiative of the minister will mean. But we say every intent from government to regulate quality, but also the price for the consumers is welcome. But until now, these ministers are from one party, up, and the price is still going up. We don't see up bringing down the price.
But I don't think up exists anymore right now. It's like it's crashing, it's sinking, it's burning.
Well, it can be having its troubles, but it is still the up party. And it is still a minister of the up party. And he was recently being bigged up by the leader from the up party because he had his birthday, you know. So when we see that still we have to believe in it is the up that is doing something for us, we still want to see that it is in a dialogue with us, because we don't have a dialogue with this minister. He is very difficult to get dialogue.
I will say to you, Mr. Jeshurun, to measure your words. You got to be very careful when you make a statement like that about the minister.
We speak the truth. If I tell you that it is known that this minister, before he went on the campaign trail, he came to tell us, and me personally, how he was using the data from the anti-poverty platform, because he was going to rally on the campaign floor for eradication of poverty. The minister is already in charge. How long? And no eradication of poverty. The Up Party promised in their program that they were going to sign with the anti-poverty platform the Declaration for the Eradication of Poverty. Until today, the Up leader, neither the party, came to sign. And we see it also in how they perform and what they do. Poverty is still rampant on the island, still increasing on the island, even though they come to tell you that they are going to increase, for instance, the minimum wage. Until today, no worker got the increase. It's talking, but not walking the talk. That's what we see, and we're still in poverty.
So then if you had to give the minister a grade, what grade would you give him then?
We gave the whole government an insufficient grade. Why? Because if the interest of the people is for them to be assisted, for them to develop, for them to have relief, then all the measures that you take is not a 12.5% cut. It's not a 20% cut. It's not the cut now also in the salaries of those that are in higher positions. It is providing the people with sufficient income, a basic income that keeps them out of poverty. When you talk social pensions, ROV, Mr. Moore, not even in January this year, the minister provided the old age pensions with an increase. There was a cost of living increase. He didn't provide it to SZV until the day of today. The seniors asking me where it is. They don't ask the minister. This is what I mean. How you can get for me a high mark if you miss the mark? The mark is nobody should be in poverty. The mark is you campaigned and rallied against the poverty. But what do we see? You help the business community to keep us in poverty. The other side of the story. The kingdom government, the Dutch government, is also imposing all kinds of measures on us. We get cuts. And who is cooperating for us to get the cuts? The same coalition, the same government that said that they are for the people. You cannot be for the people and you're hurting the people. Cannot be that the cost of living is still increasing and you don't bring down the prices. So we see, most important thing that has to happen, what we feel daily, they are not there for us. Who they for? That's the question. Who you for? We ask this every time.
Well, you said in the beginning who they're for, the business community.
So that's what we see. They're not for we. So the whole idea of evaluating the government, let's look at their government program. Eradication of poverty was not in the governing program. So how can you expect that they're going to eradicate it? It's talking nice words, we for the people, but we're not seeing that the people is being alleviated, neither even supported to get out of poverty. The Ombudsman, in this month, she took the initiative to have a roundtable discussion with stakeholders. Most of them were from the government entities, and then also some of in the society. What was the idea of the Ombudsman? To talk about what are the data that we need to talk about poverty, and not only to talk about it, but for us to have policies to eradicate the poverty. We applauded the initiative because at least there is one that has a concern, a real concern. The Ombudsman organized it, and everybody that was and participated that morning was aware that what happened at that morning was very, very instrumental because there was input provided.
Well, you spoke of that, right?
I spoke to, yes. I was one of the only representatives for the civil society organizations on behalf of the anti-poverty platform. Now, you know, government entities, they could tell you what they have in their entities. What is it that they are collecting? And they share that with us. On the other hand, we as consumers, we want to see those data. And the problem that we face is that a lot of times these data are not reachable for the consumer. So if it is not for our persistence, our looking for the data, our making use of the existing data, nobody will tell you how much poverty we have. And therefore also you don't see measurement of, are we reducing the poverty? Are we eradicating the poverty? Where the Sustainable Development Goal of the United Nations, our Prime Minister went to Washington, went to address she went to New York. And what is it that she did? She went to participate to talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, but what did she come to do here? With all of that talking and listening, what do you come to do here? And nothing we see. No dialogue brought up, are we on a good track? So this initiative of the Ombudsman, we applaud it, and we especially applaud it because it is also an initiative of the other ombudsman in the kingdom. And it will be at the end of this month in Curaçao that the Ombudsman of Holland and from St. Maarten as well as from Curaçao will be discussing the findings, because the same roundtable discussion that we had here, the other ombudsman had it elsewhere. So we will come together there and they will then discuss the findings and see where they can take it then to the next level.
What about, I understand you also went to some meetings in the region, some international meetings.
Yes.
Are there any comparisons between the elderly in St. Martin and, say, the region?
Well, if we say compare the elderly in the region, the situation in the region is worse. In terms of poverty in the region, it's the same thing. We have been providing those regional meetings with the information that we had from a sub-regional meeting that we held with the University of St. Martin and the Anti-Poverty Platform in the beginning of this year. That was in February. We had people from Anguilla, from the St. Martin North, and from our own St. Martin South. And our reflection was this, that we see that we are still colonized territories, and actually based on human rights, we ought to be treated equal throughout the state that is colonizing us. So in the French state, you see that that is better done than in the Dutch state. We are not even getting the equal treatment. Less than half of what they have as social protection in the Netherlands, we get. When you look at Anguilla, they have some more than we get. But still, there is a lot of discrimination between what you can get here in the region and what is being provided in the European part of the kingdom. So our conclusion was that we all strive to get an equal treatment with the European seniors. We would like to have the same treatment. And what happened now with the region? We advocated actually for them to change the paradigm. They talk about equality within their state, within their mini-state, within their country. And we said, what about equality to become equal as in Western Europe? And that hurdle, that vision, that paradigm is still not being considered. So we said, if people from the region come to St. Martin, and when they come here to St. Martin, we want them to be treated equal. We don't want them to be treated equal as second-class or third-class citizens in the kingdom. We want them to be treated equal as in the Netherlands. That's why you are in one state. And that is human right for each and everybody to get non-discriminatory treatment. So we said, if the people from the region coming here can get this, and we're fighting for that, united, why not the whole region? We claim this treatment equally for all of us here in the region. Now, this is new for a lot of organizations in the region, but I think it was well received because nobody else before thought of it. They see people leaving their island, leaving their country, they go into the States, they go into Europe, but the idea then to claim the same treatment as there, that is not what has been demanded until now. And so it is with that said that we said, now we have to unite. We have to see if we can get one Caribbean territory where everybody can be treated equal, and that we have to be treated equal as all those others in Western Europe or in the United States, because we have some U.S. territories too.
When you look at St. Martin, Mr. Jesseron, and the elderly, it seems like people don't understand, or they don't want to understand, the issues confronting the elderly on St. Martin. It's serious.
Well, I won't say that they don't understand. Everybody has a feeling. It's their own seniors, their own family members, their own friends, their own people that they have seen that have been working hard and that have been building up St. Martin, as well as the Netherlands Antilles, because a lot of our seniors were in Aruba, were in Curaçao, in the refinery, and in other branches from the economy. So, in a way, we claim as seniors that we have to be respected for what we did. Now, that respect we have also from children, grandchildren, but not from the institutions. Because if we talk about respect from the institutions, why is it that we don't get equal pensions? Why is it that we don't get equal social allowances? Why is it that we don't get same treatment as in the other part of the kingdom? So this plea based on human rights, that is something where we say, especially the politicians, they sing the Dutch song, And what is the Dutch song? Apartheid. The Dutch song is not gelijkheid. We have to be separate, we have to be apart, and we have to be treated apart, not equal. They don't want to use the word equality. They talk about we have equal value. But if it is equal value, then you have to pay us the same social pensions, the same social allowances, not to be in poverty. And that is not happening.
You think that if we got the same pension like those in the Netherlands, things will improve?
When we compare our pensions and we make it the same as in the Netherlands, it is an improvement, but it is then still not up to par because the cost of living here is still higher than in the Netherlands. But then we say, look what they did in France and in the French territories. The time of President Sarkozy, there was a struggle that started in Martinique and in Guadeloupe. And that workers' movement brought the change that the social allowances were increased with the cost of living increase, which is in the territories of the Caribbean higher than in Metropole. So that, as an example, we also have to demand. And that is the thing that we say. We are for equal treatment, and the equal treatment has to do with the fact that just as in the Netherlands, they adjust the levels to the increase in the cost of living, they have to do that here too.
But Mr. Justin, the best islands, I saw a report, seniors in Bonaire, they're going through hell.
Yeah. So that's why the Ombudsman of the Netherlands also ring the bell. And we are fully in support of actually the intent of these ombudsmen in the kingdom to bring this thing now to the political level, that it is being understood and that the discrimination will stop.
But, you know, I listened to you and I've had you many times in the program, and it seems like the politicians just use the seniors. When election time roll around, they probably drive up to them, give them a few dollars, and they vote for them, and the problem just continue over and over again. It's like a vicious cycle.
Well, we have indeed seen that behavior in the past. That's why we wanted them, together with the unions in the anti-poverty platform, to sign the Eradication of Poverty Declaration.
They won't sign it.
Well, if we pressure enough and you want to participate with the election, then we know who to vote for. Okay. If you don't sign, then why should we vote for you? Because you don't want to commit. And we have seen what it is from the time that we came up with a declaration for the eradication of poverty.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, we had a little success, because in the governing program from the UD government, together with the SMCP, who signed the declaration, the intent that the SMCP wanted to achieve, to address it within the governing coalition, to address it in the governing program, and then provide it also to Parliament for the increases, it was in the program. But the next government that came, when they brought down the UD government, the first Silveria Jacob cabinet, nothing of that. And until today, the coalition that they provided, nothing of eradication of poverty in their program. So with that said, if we are going for the next election now, we will be advocates again. Who is for eradication of poverty? And we will promote all of those that want to do that. That's where you can get our votes. Why should we vote for people that is not for we? It's not for us. So we have to provide this platform, and we have to provide this declaration for the eradication of poverty. It is a UN mandate that all the countries before 2030 now have to eradicate the poverty. It should be zero poverty. So the same way as they say you should have zero hunger, the same way they said we had zero AIDS, campaigns and everything that is needed to provide it had to be organized. So we want to see which political parties want to do that, because election come in and you can only get our support And we can only argue, well, here we have a possibility that we can hold them accountable because this is what they say, this is what they write, this is what they want to commit to, that you can get our support.
One politician recently issued a release that he would like to see the taxing of seniors' pension be eliminated.
I applaud all initiatives of anyone that wants to bring relief. But it's not only the seniors that need tax relief, all the poor and the needy. On everything that we buy, that is TOT. You remember the TOT was introduced temporarily. Well, that temporarily is long. It takes long. So for us, you see, you start with a lie and you be silent about the lie. You continue with the lie and you even tell me that I have to do this because I have to pay bills, I have to be helping the people. For instance, they said that it was helping us during the pandemic. What is it that they provided us? If I tell you, and this we have been sharing of late, in 1974, there was a household budget survey done in the Netherlands Antilles, and also in St. Maarten, by the Statistical Bureau of the Netherlands Antilles. And the Dutch Committee for Mixed Experts, they came to the conclusion that to cover the basic needs, one needed $750 a month, which is 1,350 guilders, almost 50 years ago. Today, what is government providing for you to cover your basic needs? 1,150 guilders, less than the 1,350 from then. And now, Mr. Moore, what happened with the prices?
It's oral.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gibbs. Oh, what happened with all of those prices? You see, the prices went up. And what you could buy with $20 in 1974, the same amount of stuff now is $240, 12 times more. So how can you tell us that for us to cover our basic needs, we can still maintain 1,150 guilders as the help that you need to survive? It is not right. It should have been 12 times more. Now, when you tell government, this is what has to happen, the first thing they say, we can't pay, where are we going to get that money? But as we are in the kingdom, for us not to be in poverty, we expected from our government to knock on the door and to demand equal treatment throughout the kingdom. And the fact that the cost of living here is so high, yes, we have to live with it. Then provide us with the income that we can cover our basic needs.
But Mr. Joshua, are you aware that the Dutch government is pressuring the government of St. Maarten to increase taxes? A sales tax of what, 12.5%?
Well, the government of the Netherlands is putting a lot of conditions, and we have already exposed those conditions as being against the interest of the people. They are not conditions to provide us with that support by redistributing in the kingdom the wealth that has been built up in the kingdom. It is not that they are going to provide us with what is due to us based on our human right. And as long as our government doesn't talk right, you have to talk human right to talk right, and you can claim. But if you don't talk so, if you don't want to talk that way, then they play the game with the Dutch politicians to keep us separate, to keep us apart, and to keep us in poverty because they don't provide us with equality. So it is a matter of realizing, have I this right? Even if it is in small print, why there is no lawyer, why there is no defense, why there is no parliamentarian, why there is no politician to defend All right.
You know, you said something a while ago that really surprised me. You mentioned the turnover tax that was introduced in 1995, just after Hurricane Lewis, and at that time, St. Martin was was resisting that, and Poirier was prime minister, and so they moved it up to 1996. And they said, "Don't worry, it's an austerity measure, just a few years, and then it will be gone." We're in 2022, and the turnover tax is still there, and we're going to get even more taxes. It seems like we can't trust all politicians anymore.
Well, we really have big question marks with the behavior of our politicians. Mr. Gibbs, the budget of St. Martin, the personnel cost, increased. It increased with 50% or more. So how can you increase it if you say that you don't have money? How can you put more if you don't have money? Now you can only put more because you provided the government with more people. You took more people in the government apparatus. So gradually we see this is what the politicians have been doing. From the one hand, they have been cutting, they have been bleeding the workers and their families. From the other hand, they have been placing friends and cronies in the government apparatus. It is not right. And when we look at this, at the end of the day, the next election, these truths have to come out for the people to decide.
You know, the turnover tax has caused enormous problems for St. Martin.
Sure.
Except for the government. Because what happened is the cost of living keep going up.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you can see less of our own people getting any gainful employment. So it hasn't worked, but it's the tax that the government gets to run the country and to squander. So I don't ever see that turnover tax going away.
Well, again, I look at it like this. I want to see the turnover tax to be changed into a sales tax. Because right now, from the first entry that we import, we see the turnover tax, and it is being added and added with the same percentage for everyone that has a part in the distribution chain. That is not sales tax. The sales tax should be for the worth that is being added in the chain of distribution. Now, everywhere else in the world, they can implement it. How come that St. Martin can't implement it? It's a baby country that we have, or a banana republic? So the question is, why can't you copy-paste the same thing as others do, which is beneficial for the consumers and also for the business community?
St. Martin is a special case, the politicians are going to tell you. They will say, Mr. Jesseron, remember, it's not just St. Martin. It's French and Dutch. We need a synchronized boat in order to not drive business from one side to the other. I've heard that argument a lot, all the time. Sometimes it's valid, sometimes it's not.
Well, again, any economic argument that you want to use doesn't address my human right. My human right to do the things right. And that's where we go. I don't want to hear what you say and what you look for. They're blaming Russia for the increase of the prices here for energy, but the prices of energy went down on the world market. But still we see fuel prices here going up.
Yeah.
So for us, this whole thing of telling us an argument, we look at it from this perspective. The argument is not to help us. The argument is to keep us in the same situation and even it becoming worse.
Well, Mr. Jesseron, I have to go to a break. All right, when we come back, we'll continue speaking with Mr. Jesseron right here on Oral Gibbs Live. Please stay with us.
To know what you want out of life, you need to observe, listen, and try it yourself. Promises, we can make it if we work together. That's just how it is. Let's stand strong, and serve the land. Working hard as one nation, yes we can. The more difficult it is to achieve, the more satisfying it is to make it. Just believe in us, we'll see you through it all. Oh, never give up. Oh, never give up. We can make it. Never forget those who were there for you. And if you dream big, you might just achieve it. The power to serve, standing for community. OGB got the power to serve, the power to serve. We got the energy. OGB.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/.
Oral Gibbs Live is Mr. Raymond Jesseroon. Mr. Jesseroon is Vice President of the St. Martin Seniors Pensioners Association, and he's also coordinator on the Anti-Poverty Platform. He's my guest here on Oral Gibbs Live. And Mr. Jesseroon, when you look around the island, and I spoke with you the last time about it. This is a beautiful island. Everything looks so great. You drive around the island, you see all this construction. Everything is going great. And then, boom, we have the people that built the island to what it is today. They're at the bottom. They can't find food to eat. They're literally suffering daily, have many health problems, and don't see a bright future at all left for them.
I agree with that observation. But I don't think that what some people think, that it was better before than now. A lot of our people in St. Martin left to Curaçao and left to Aruba. Why? Because of the income level here. They could get more in Curaçao and in Aruba because of the refineries that was pulling a lot of workers from the region. But even those salaries were not up to par with the ones in the Netherlands. So when these workers now are back with their little pension from the company, it is something, and yes, they have worked for it, but it is not up to the par, it is not up to the level as it is in Western Europe, number one. Number two, when we look at the social pensions that have to actually complement what we are getting, it's not equal. So when you look at that and you look how the seniors now have to survive with this cost of living, it was a publication of the Central Bank of St. Martin and Curaçao, which was published this month in October, and where you could see that most of the seniors that were interviewed in that investigation had difficulties to meet the ends every month. So if that is the reality of most of the seniors in our society, and with the reality with the seniors being more than with younger persons that are working 2 to 3 jobs, this reality, who want to change it? And we said already, it is not only a matter of the government, local government, and the local politicians, it is also a matter of the kingdom. Because You see, in the second chamber, they talk about what has to happen with the poverty in Bonaire, Station, and Sabre, but they don't talk about what has to happen with the poverty in St. Martin, Curaçao, and Aruba. So what you see here is that the apartheid and the discrimination of our Caribbean people in the kingdom is continuous. They support it, they don't lift it, and our own politicians that have to defend us don't do that. So here is where, as Anti-Poverty Platform, but also Seniors Association, we have been speaking out for our human rights. And as long as you don't talk human rights, you can come with all kind of amounts for a pension, but you are discriminating based on Article 2 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which said that everybody has to get equal treatment, equal rights in the state where we are apart from.
You don't want peace, you want equal rights.
If we have equal rights, we have more peace than now. Because what you have now is every day is a struggle. It's a struggle to survive.
I know, just quoting the song, reggae song, that everyone, they want peace, but they want equal rights and justice.
Well, we agree with equal rights and justice, and especially social justice, because what you see here in the kingdom is that we are being discriminated, and we can even denounce it as racial discrimination, because they don't treat the people on the other side of the ocean this way.
Well, they always argue, and I've said that to you many times too, that the people in the Netherlands, they contribute more into the taxes, and therefore they have this privilege of getting a better pension than those in the Caribbean area.
I've heard this argument so many times. And when we talk taxes, we also are being taxed. And based on our income, we are providing our input. But what the Dutch don't tell you is that for centuries, 5 centuries, they have been colonizing this territory, and they have been enslaving the people in this territory, putting them to work without paying them a decent salary, a decent income. Now, all that money they kept for themselves up there, for their families. And what you see recently was this report in the Netherlands, where they talk about, we have to provide the people now with an apology for slavery and colonialism. But only apology, As the state, we are going to tell them sorry for that we did this to you, but no money. They talk about what they want to do. They want to educate us now all of a sudden, so that we can see that we are equal people, that we have the right to be treated equal, all of that. But nothing economically, nothing of the wealth that has been accumulated by thieving the people that had to work for you, by stealing the resources that we had in our territory. All that wealth that you have capitalized and make money with it, and it is now in a few families still in the Netherlands, you don't want to redistribute the wealth. That is what we call reparation. That is what we call you have to do now what is right. You have to pay back. It's payback time. But that is not what you see our politicians providing as alternatives. We had a little light in Parliament when the Grisha Heilige Maarten motion was passed, and when this Koharis law firm was hired to provide us with an analysis of what was happening here. That document went to the 2 entities of the United Nations with the request, come and do the research, come and see for yourself, and establish if the kingdom is treating us right, yes or no. So with that green light, I say, that started, we want to see it realizing, and we want to see this mission coming, that the exposure that is needed of what is not right, that it will be there. So for the international community to tell the Dutch that claim to be human rights advocates, they claim to be the human rights defenders in the world. They have the International Court of Justice in The Hague, and they say, look at us, how we defend human rights in their own yard. Being here in the Caribbean, they're not treating us right. That has to be exposed. Now, we have been consistent, yes, in presenting that, in documenting that. Mm-hmm. Who else is joining the struggle for equal right and justice? Now, we want to thank you for providing us with these opportunities, because at least you have an interest. You would like to know how do we look at it and how we think about it. And every so now and then you have an opinion that is going into the same direction. But then the thing is, what next? Who is standing up for our right? Bob Marley told us, get up and stand up for your right and don't give up the fight. So it is a real struggle, a real fight that we have to win.
So then you want to see our politicians and Dutch politicians stand up for our rights?
Well, the Dutch politicians, I don't expect them to stand up for our rights. The Dutch politicians already, we have been seeing, they have been constantly siding up with the colonial vision of development. We want our politicians to stand up for a decolonial vision of development. Mm-hmm. We want them to stand up and look for unity throughout the Caribbean. We have a lot of territory here. We have a lot of things in common. We have a lot of possibilities that we can explore, to develop, and demand from the former states that have been colonizing the territory to provide us with an equal treatment, equality, and social justice.
So if you had to wake up tomorrow morning, what would make you happy that you're fighting for right now, that you think?
To see my dream come true. I want to see everybody being treated as equal as they are in the Netherlands.
And the pension should go up to what, 2,500 guilders?
No, I say the pension should go up to the level of what it is in the Netherlands, plus with the cost of living that is needed to be adjusting that amount. And this is now the next thing, the data about the cost of living, the accessibility to those data. Yeah, we demand that to be provided. Up to now, for instance, the Minister of Social Development and Labor could not provide what is the percentage that has to come up to the minimum wage for it to be adjusted.
You're kidding.
I'm telling you. He said that he was going to announce it. Today we are in November, coming. Yeah. Tomorrow is in the 1st of November. Not yet. But I tell you, it's incredible.
Then he's going to make it retroactive once, really.
Oh, that I doubt.
You doubt?
Yes, because November is coming. You're going to tell me that he is going to tell all these political friends and cronies that have to finance their campaign that they have to go back pay to all the workers. Oh, he won't do that.
You never know.
He won't do that. I will tell you he won't do that, because that will mean political suicide.
What about SZV? Are you concerned? Because I understand they're not doing that well financially.
Well, of course we are concerned with SZV. You have two things with SZV. The pensions, social pensions. What is happening is that not all the companies in the island provide the premiums and the contribution to the SZV. Why? They're using a lot of workers that are not documented, and because they are not registered, they also don't register them officially, and then they put them to work and they keep then the premium monies, but they deduct it from the workers. Because when the workers come to us and they want us to calculate what is it that they have to get, and we communicate with SZV, then we see that the worker was never in the system. So what you see here is that it's the companies violating the law. And even when the companies get an opportunity to make it right, they send immigration to pick up the workers and put them outside. It happened 2 weeks ago. That example was brought up happened here in the harbor. And even a parliamentarian and government started to say that it is not fair that a worker that has been working for you for more than 5 years, that now you have an opportunity to help him, that his status can become regulated, that you don't want to do it. And then you call immigration to pick them up the next day. That is what we call friendly island? No way. And that's the part that we see. The health insurance funds, what we see happening there is that the legislation was not up to par. They have been putting the seniors in the ZFI fund, where the legislation is saying clearly that someone that is not working cannot be in the fund. So they provided the ZFI 60 plus, increased the healthcare deficit in that fund, and then what they want to do now is nivellate all those funds in a so-called general health insurance fund, and then they even want to take the AVBZ monies, that is for the chronic patients, they want to use that to level the deficits that they have created. It's not right, it's not correct. I think that the government has to look for another way to provide those funds. And here also I see that the kingdom government has a responsibility. Because if everybody has the right to the highest attainable level of health, it is not only meaning the quality of the healthcare, with a new hospital, with enough people here that work and that is staffed in the hospital up to par with what they have in the Netherlands, is also the monies for the care. And that is where I see that our government, our ministers, they don't walk that way. They don't think that way. And that is where we are being kept back. It's only when they are more educated in human rights, maybe they will be doing it right.
There are a number of seniors organizations in St. Martin.
Yes.
Are you all working together as one group to fight this issue?
Well, in terms of fighting, most of the seniors organizations that we have in the island are foundations. They are not associations. The Seniors and Pensioners Association is the only association. So in terms of fighting, it is in our constitution that we want equal rights throughout the kingdom. The others are foundations that have more a recreational, supportive role. So they organize activities and they look for funding to organize those activities. We have more than 4,000 seniors in the island. And with the organizations, we don't cover all.
And they can vote? Most of those 4,000 can vote, right?
No. Only those that have a Dutch citizenship. Because here in St. Martin, you can be a long time in the island. You can have a permanent residency, but as long as you don't have Dutch citizenship, Dutch passport, you cannot vote.
So it's about half of the seniors can vote then, approximately.
No. Almost 80% of our seniors is from the region.
Wow.
I tell you, that's the truth of St. Martin. Most of the people in St. Martin is not born here. They come from the region.
Now I see why there's a problem. I really see why. And I'll tell you why. Because as a St. Martiner, and you know, all politics is different than we are tribal politics. You're either from the tribe or you're not. I'm not from the tribe, so I'm an outsider. Probably if I go to the French side, I'm from a tribe there. But the thing is that when you look at this island, and this is what's destroying us, this whole tribal politics, whereby we are electing people based on the family name, etc., etc. And when you told me just now, almost 80% of that 4,000 are from the region, I can see why the problem. The politicians, they don't have to depend on them. They don't care about it because they don't vote for them.
Maybe that is one explanation, but I think the most important
I don't want to simplify it too much, but that's probably one of them.
No, I want to look at it from this perspective, Mr. Gibbs. You either respect human rights, and then it doesn't matter where you come from.
No respect. They don't care about respect and human rights.
No,
You know
that's-
that.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
They don't even respect the St. Martin.
Yeah, they don't respect it.
They also don't respect the ones from the region that are here. Yes, you see them as a politician on the 1st of October, which is the International Day for Older Persons, and you see them giving out baskets, or
Yeah.
they're giving out goodies, or they're presenting themselves, they're giving parties.
Yeah.
But the 365 days of the year, what is it that they provide? Where is the equality that they have to provide? And that is where I say, we have to stand up for our rights. It is a human right, and it is a fight to get it right.
Well, Mr. Jesroen, it's always a pleasure having you in the program. 1 minute, all yours in closing.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to share and reflect upon what is cooking. I hope that once more, the plea to provide us with an equal treatment throughout the kingdom will be resonating. And I thank you for having me.
Well, it's always a pleasure having you here in the program, and much success. All right? And that's it for now. See you next time right here on Oral Gibbs Live. Until then, take care. Bye.